Y'all, we live in difficult times. There's war, political unrest, the pandemic, poverty, families being torn, communities ripped by gun violence and people dying every day. Police, injustice, it's all bringing so much pain. But y'all, we can look inside our minds and we can understand who we are, become better, and do this thing like we've never done it before. But it all starts with our mental health, and I know we can do it. I believe in you because I believe in me, and I believe in us. Hello, and welcome again for another episode of Therapy is Life, where thinking, feeling, and experiencing well-being is the name of the game. We've been talking about children, we've been talking about guns, and we've been talking about parenting. And I guess you might ask, as a therapist, why you might be talking about this stuff? It's called social determinants of health. We can all sit around and we can talk about individual efforts in cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And really help people. But I realize that if we're really going to do our best, our society, our environment needs to be better because they impact our well-being also. So today, we want to talk a little bit more about guns, and we want to talk a little bit more about parenting, because there's a lot going on, y'all, and we need to really be self-reflective. Mm-hmm. Look inside of ourselves, non-judgmental, and really say, hey, could I do a better job as a parent? Because if we don't do good, like I said before, the hate you give little infant will F everybody. And that's sure not what we want to do. Yeah. So Niesha, I know in our last episode, we talked a little bit about the little boy who went into school and shot up his teacher. We talked a little bit about how it might impact the students and the staff in the school. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to look a little bit more today at parenting and what we can do as parents to maybe not completely eliminate the risk, but reduce the risk of our kids even being put in that type of situation. Okay. Now, I think at the foundation of everything we do as parents, it is definitely to provide an environment for our kids to learn and to be good citizens and be able to regulate their emotions. But sometimes this process can get very murky and difficult. Yeah. So in this episode, I think I want to ask some things, and you can kind of give me of course, you're going to give me your feedback, right? On, some things we do as a parent. And we're going to say, is it watching or is it parenting? How about that? We're going to say watching or parenting, and we can kind of say why you think it is or why you think it's not. All right? Okay. Y'all with us? So, all right. Watching or parenting. Allowing your 15-year-old to be able to go out and not really have a definite curfew. They come in when they want to. Is that watching or is that parenting?
I would consider that as watching. Kind of just watching, waiting to see, if she's going to come in the house at the right time. Watching and waiting to see if a parent has to intervene. It's kind of just waiting and watching and allowing the child to explore and do things on their own. I wouldn't consider that parenting.
Gotcha. I would definitely agree with you on that. You just not having any structure. I remember my oldest son being about 18 years old and saying, I got friends that they be out to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and everything. And I was like, boy, yeah, do you know?
It's not that.
hey, this is not that. Do you know? And of course, I would always say, I'll tell you what, you look down the road, down the way a little bit, and you see where the kids are. They're just kind of doing whatever versus the kids that have structure, and see if they are actually in a better place. Let's look at that. He's like, okay. All right. So we're going to say that's definitely more like watching. Okay. All right. Check this out. Second, providing a daily routine and structure in which your kids will do their homework, eat, and go to sleep. Is that parenting or is that watching?
I would call it parenting.
Why is that?
Because you're creating structure. As well as making sure the essentials are done. Waking up in the morning, making up your bed, doing your homework, household things, the structured bedtimes, having a routine in the household. I would consider that as parenting.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What does routines do for children? What does it do when you give kids routines?
It creates stability.
Oh, stability.
Right? They know what to expect.
Oh.
They know what to look forward to. They know that they have to follow certain routines in the day. That helps them know, how to start to earn things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Would it be fair to say, if we create a routine and then there's 3 or 4 or 5 days, I just kind of let you do what you want to do, and then I get, okay, what the you ain't doing this right. You ain't doing. Would it be fair to say, well, I'm maintaining a good routine if I'm allowing it to be like that?
You said go 3 or 4 days.
The routine off the routine.
No,
and then,
no.
Yeah.
I would say no. That's not effective because children, they follow the lead of their caregiver. If the caregiver doesn't make them wash the dishes, they're not gonna wash the dishes. They know they're supposed to wash the dishes, but they kind of just waiting to see when she gonna say something. Let me tiptoe around the subject. They're smart and they know it, but they're waiting for someone to lead them and to guide them. They're waiting for that motivation, right? Children are driven by rewards. If no one's paying attention, no one's giving them any type of gratification, they're not motivated to do.
Speaking of that, watching or parenting, when we give our kids words of affirmation, physical touch, we let them know we love them, we support them, we encourage them. Is that watching or is that parenting?
Hey, that can be parenting, but it can also hit in the middle. It's definitely parenting because you're giving your child that undivided attention and the nurturement that they need, right? Okay. So parenting in that way. However, some people can give their child affirmations and give them love and also let them run amok and not really have.
Oh, so you're trying to say
you could be one of those, oh baby, you just so beautiful. You got straight F's, you don't take a shower, you don't do what you're supposed to do. But that's all right, because it's always about the gratification. And we can't do anything to upset Ashley, because then Ashley will have a bad day. So we just keep on nurturing and pouring out these positives without addressing their negative behaviors that need to be worked on.
Because you don't want to see you don't want to see the blow up, or you don't want to see them upset, and you don't want to deal with all of that.
You got to keep Ashley at peace.
Oh yeah.
So it's good parenting because she Ashley needs that, but Ashley also needs that constructive criticism. She needs to be watched and parented. Yeah.
When I think about that, oftentimes I think about when the parents would ask me, so my kid is having a temper tantrum, and what should I do when they have temper tantrums? Because it just gets on my nerves, and I just don't know what to do. And I'll say, you know what? Let them know that they're going to be okay. Make sure they're safe. Give them space. Don't say a whole lot, and allow them to have the tantrum. But don't give them what they want.
Absolutely. You give them space to get it all out and not talking, because when somebody is upset, all the verbal, you're talking to them, they're upset, they're not really receiving that. In that moment, that left brain, right brain connection, they're not listening to you. They're going to go off of behavior. So if your child is plopping or having a tantrum, they're on the floor, you allow them that space to get that out of their system. Because you kind of talking to them immediately isn't going to help.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So watching or parenting, when you tell your kids no.
It's parenting.
It's parenting. I've heard some people, even some professionals say, oh my God, don't tell your kids no. And I'm like, what the? You know what I mean?
Yeah. This brings up something recently that happened, as we were talking about earlier. A parent who told her child no. The 10-year-old in Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin. That wanted an Oculus. She told her 10-year-old no. He shot her in the head. This mother is now dead. She lost her life because she told her son no.
That is crazy, right? She told him no. And perhaps maybe, I don't want to get all psychological on this, but let me say this. Sometimes as parents, we so busy trying to please our kids and give them what they want, especially when it comes to like the video games. Like, oh, they can just play all day, not realizing that there's this constant dopamine rush and serotonin just going to their brain and just rushing, and they get addicted to that, and they just enjoy it. And so, and then you need them to come down, and then they can't.
Right. This the video games, things, candy, snacks, certain foods are very overstimulating.
Yeah,
all these electronics, these tablets, they're overstimulating, and then you're like, all right, 9 o'clock, put it all away and go to bed. They can't shut their brains off that quick. They've been overstimulated all day.
Yeah, they've been overstimulated all day long, and then so they're so used to just kind of like doing their own thing, and now we're saying no or setting this boundary, and then they have temper tantrums or this obviously really extreme reaction to a very normal parent request.
Yep. She was just
saying no to something because she needed him to do something else. But the reality of it is, kids have to be taught and nurtured in a way that they are allowed to accept the fact that things won't always go their way. So being told no is vital. Just like we say it's good parenting when we so afraid of our kids losing that we don't want to recognize it. When kids play sports or whatever, we don't even want to recognize that they're lost.
Yeah, that's unhealthy.
Yeah, so
everybody gets a certificate of participation.
Yeah. We don't
no. In life, we don't get participation points. Either, we want to strive for the best and to be successful.
Right.
At a certain age, we are going to have first, second, and third place. We're going to have the winners and the losers. When you lose something, it's teaching you the worth of and the feeling of wanting to actually win and to grow and to fight harder or play harder.
Right.
When things are given,
yeah,
I don't gotta do nothing. They'll just give it to me.
Yeah, and I think what's important there too is to realize that win or lose, you still have value. You still important. Not that I have to always appear that I won or I was the best to be important, because you don't have to always be the best to be important. Mm-hmm. I like to believe that we're all wonderfully made, whether or not we win at every, maybe if I was the best at track, maybe I'm not here today talking to you doing this podcast. Maybe this was a part of who I was supposed to become. Yeah. But if we don't learn how to deal with failure, if we don't learn how to deal with no, then, what are we going to become? Okay, because we could, that right there. Oh my God. What would you say about I guess we kind of talked about this already a little bit, about this getting everything we want materially, like whether shoes or the clothes, and my kids got to have all the best stuff. Oh,
goodness gracious.
Parenting or watching?
I'm going to say both.
Okay, elaborate.
I'm going to elaborate because that hits close to my heart. As parents, we always want our children to have, that's the goal, to have a better life than what we had and to have more things so they can be happy.
More things? Okay, go ahead.
I know.
Go ahead.
The essentials, but things just start popping up.
Mm-hmm.
So watching would look like the new Jordans come out. Example, my daughter just did this to me today. I pick her up from school before we can even get out of the school parking lot. 2 text messages from her. She's in the back seat. The Jordan Seafoam 4s come out February 24th, and another pair come out. She's sending me all the Jordans and the dates that they're coming out because she wants them. So watching would be like, all right, Leah, I got you. The date they come out, we'll figure it out. You're going to get the Jordans because you sent me the information. Parenting for me looks like, okay, Leah, what did you do your homework? What are your grades looking like? All right, well, we got trips and we got flights already planned. Financially, these Jordans come out in February. Your birthday's in April. What we doing here? Are you earning them? Is this your birthday gift? So parenting for me looks like the accountability. What are you going to do to earn these things? Versus watching her just tell me what I got to do and when I have to do it, and me saying sure, because I want her to have all these great things. I don't want my baby to be left out when everyone's walking around with new stuff. So I got to dress her how other people are dressed so she don't get bullied. Or she's my firstborn, so I got to give her all these things. So watching would definitely look like buying things and not necessarily teaching them how to earn them.
Right. And to add to your point, I want to say a couple of things. Number one, I think it's important that kids begin to learn the value of money and not just getting things, but realizing that it takes a certain amount of time and effort to buy these things.
Yes.
And it's not just, it just puffs out of nowhere like Puff the Magic Dragon. That click thing again. There we go. That click thing again. Right? Immediately, it's right here.
And they think they have it figured out.
Yeah,
My children ask me all the time, "Can't you work overtime?" What is overtime? I'm an entrepreneur. I work 24/7. Like, when y'all are asleep, I'm still up working. I'm doing this, that, and the other. Just got this office. What do you mean overtime? Like, where did you get this language from, ma'am? Like,
exactly.
Can you just not get this time?
Exactly. And the other thing I would say about that their self-concept is so defined by these material things.
Yes.
And, because I think that is one of the things that creates such disparity. Because, in America, a lot of times, a lot of our kids have the things they need and more. But the perception, because I don't have these Jordans, or I don't have these particular shoes or AirPods.
You need an iPhone. You need the AirPods.
Right.
You got to look around and see where everybody else look like. I got to fit in. I got to fit this mold of what all the other people are doing and what they have.
Exactly. And so when you don't fit in that way, then you feel like there's something wrong with you and you're inadequate. And I think that kind of contributes to some of the issues we have now with our young people and not feeling good enough or not feeling worthy because we're so material oriented.
Yep, it's about what I look like on the outside. Yeah, I gotta have this. I gotta fit in. It's all about the material things that they can. I just gotta have. I gotta have.
Yeah.
And then when they're done with it, it's like I don't know what. I don't even want that.
Yeah.
That was so last week. I don't want that anymore. I had it already. I played with it. I touched it. I'm over it.
Yeah, exactly. And so that versus being grateful and appreciative for what you have and everything. And I think about it when I hear the stories of the people who grew up in the 60s or the 50s and particularly talking about people of color. And they said, well, we grew up in a 350 square foot house
with dirt floors.
And we only had 4 rooms.
And we only wore shoes on Sundays. We have shoes. All those things, and they made it work, right? Yeah. They found some happiness.
They found ways to be happy in an environment where there was so much prejudice and racism and all these other things going on that I know our perception of the day doesn't put us in that same place. But when you try to, us therapists, we try to put ourselves in that place and try to feel that, we realized, man, that was some pretty intense stuff that it was going through. But there was a lot of people who turned out okay. And so now I don't get a certain item and my life is over. Like, it's so bad. And so parenting, we have to teach our kids that our value, who we are. Yes, we want to have nice things. In our core, who we are is not about things. And by the way, if you ever really want to be truly wealthy, those individuals don't walk around looking like it. They don't walk around looking like it. Mm-hmm. Oh, and with that being said,